Greetings everyone, welcome to a new video. Today I'm gonna tinker with some leatherwork. I'm in dire need of a camera for my camera, the one that I have here. It's a ZV-E10, and rather than being a normal person and going online and buying one, which probably would be like 60, 80 bucks or something like that, I decided to make my own out of leather. Make it even harder. I never worked with leather, I have no idea what I'm doing, so nah. For that purpose, I have literally an old jacket that I tore apart. It's got some cuffs and nicks and whatever. I'm not wearing it, and it's really old. But it seems reasonable enough, and I don't want to spend too much on this. But I do want to play around with sewing and leather work. I saw some DiResta videos, Jimmy DiResta. If you're not following him, you should. Playing around with some leather, and it's quite interesting, and I want to get into it. I have no experience sewing other than a few buttons on a shirt or something like that. So I went online, and off Temu I got some leatherworking toolkits. This is just some wax threads, some, I don't know, some needles and stuff, and one of these, I forgot what it's called, like a scissor or something. And this toolkit as well, with some files, some stuff, I don't know, punches, dies. I know what these are, seeing videos online. They're like punches, so you can space the holes out exactly where you need when you're sewing like leather. Probably gonna use them. Yeah, some bunch of stuff like that. I also went out and bought some rivets for leather or fabric, I guess. These are it, different colors. Again, this came off of Temu. All these kits were like 5, 7, 10 bucks. I think 10, this one was the most expensive one, was like 10 bucks, I think, 12, something like that. Everything else was like 5, 7, 8 or something like that. I don't remember. Quite cheap if you Google them. I'm sure you'll find different ones or in your region. In my neck of the woods, it's difficult to get stuff like that, so Temu it is. So, enough babbling. Let's get started. I even made a template, because I'm professional like that, as you can see by random pieces of notebook stuck together with Scotch tape. Plan is to have it fold over each other, so I can clamp it at the front with a little clamp that I have salvaged from an old backpack. And, well, that's as far as I got until now. So like most of my stuff, I'm just gonna wing it and see what happens. So follow along if you want. So here I'm just starting with cutting up the leather using a ruler and a utility knife to make sure it's somewhat straight, and using a random piece of wood and stuff I have lying around to make sure the camera will fit. Since the camera that is the bag is for, I'm actually using it to film right now, so well, yeah. I'm going with a wraparound design from the front, bottom, back and top, so I'm only sewing on the sides of the bag. That's what I was cutting up until now, and marking where the bottom corners will go to make sure it's symmetrical. And just sewing it all together using this stitching pattern that is probably called an overhand stitch that only an idiot would use for leather. But hey, this is what came to me at the moment, and it seemed to look reasonable enough with this rather soft and thin leather. So yeah, just running around the edges, using a thimble to go through the leather and stitching around the corners, following my markings as to when the top of the bag is reached, double checking from time to time to making sure it's big enough for the bag. At the end, I'm just making a double knot, as you can see, tightening it down, cutting it, and burning the end of the wax thread a bit to make sure it doesn't fray or come apart, and continuing with the same on the other side. This didn't take that long, maybe like 20 minutes or so for both side pieces, and was quite relaxing. Just put on some music on the headphones, time flies by. Even if the leather is soft, the needles still need a bit of force to go through it. Didn't seem like punching the hole. I thought about punching the holes beforehand with the tools that I got. Would have made it much easier than what I ended up doing, but not by much, so I just stitched it all together. A sewing machine would have made the job a lot easier, but I don't have one of those yet. But who knows, in the future, if I end up doing more leather work, I definitely will pick one up. And there we go. I think that's reasonable enough stitching, I guess. Doesn't look half bad. I left these things long on purpose so I can arrange them later as I see fit. What I think I am gonna do, I'm just gonna cut it somewhere around here and then just fold it on itself and glue it down. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. Okay. Looks big enough. Definitely fit my camera and everything else I need. But as you can see, it's, well, not very structurally sound, nor would it give very much protection to my camera. So for that, I have some of this. This is basically sound insulation for the car. Picked it up cheap. I think it was like $10 or something like that. So I'm gonna stick this down inside and hopefully that'll give it some structural rigidity and as well keep everything nice and safe. So first off, I'm gonna cut these bits off and fold them on each other and then glue them. For the glue, I'm gonna use this something or other. It's just contact adhesive spray. How you would use this, you spray it on both surfaces that you want to glue, let it dry up a bit until it gets tacky, and then clamp them together. And to clamp everything, I'm gonna use these tiny clamps to keep it all together until it dries up. So hopefully this works. So let's get to it. Just gonna use this piece of plastic so the glue doesn't go everywhere. Probably doesn't need a lot. Probably used a bit too much, but that's okay. Gotta learn somehow. You shouldn't probably be touching this with your bare hands. Okay, seems tacky enough, I guess. This thing is also called contact cement because it needs contact and constant pressure to make the glue stick. So, just gonna put some pieces of this PVC foam and just clamp it together. Looks dry enough. White balance on my camera must be having a field day. Filming black materials, it's not easy. Having a plan would have helped here, since I found out later that would have been much better idea to leave them long and stick them down over the foam over the top for a neater look. But like everything I tinker with, it's a learning process, and some lessons were learned for next time when I do something like this, because there will definitely be a next time. I quite enjoyed this little project. Now let's get to fitting the foam interior, and then I can think about a closing mechanism for it. Yeah, let's do that first. Let's stick this side first, and then we go all the way around the back. This took some time, as the contact adhesive needs some time to dry before you can stick it together. But it's a great glue for leather, fabric, rubber and stuff like that. Actually, I think it's still used in shoemaking, granted not the spray type that I'm using here. But you can also find it in like containers, that it's like a lot thicker and you apply it with a brush and probably sticks a lot better than the spray one that I have. But as far as I know, this is used for upholsteries and car interiors and stuff like that, so it'll definitely do the job for a bag. For the sides, same idea, just stick them down. Didn't do a perfect job, as you'll see in the end project at the end of the video, but did the best that I could. And for a separator on the inside, I'm just gluing back to back some pieces of foam to make a divider for the inside, even though it's not permanently attached, but I don't need it to be at this point. This is when I realized that the top will be the same size as the opening and stay in place with the buckles. So I just continued adding more foam and sticking it down. Here I'm making some straps for the D-rings for the shoulder strap. Just pieces of leather that I'm measuring and gluing on itself with the seam side on the inside where the ring will go. And obviously making 2 of them for both sides of the bag. Hammering it, making sure it sticks as thin as possible. And clamping it while the glue sits in place. With the D-rings in place, I'm measuring it and trimming it to a point for a nicer look, I guess. Pre-punching the holes for the rivets with the punch that came in the kit. And holding everything together on the bag once finished would have been quite tricky, so I'm just punching ahead of time, making the holes ahead of time. This is how it came out. I used 2 rivets on each side for more strength. Not that the bag is that heavy or my camera for that reason. I quite like the gold on black look. Too bad I didn't have D-rings in that color. I salvaged these from an old bag I threw away a while ago, together with the shoulder strap and the clasps and everything. For the top, I'm cutting and folding the leather over the foam, which is what I should have done with the sides as well. It would have given it a much better look, but that's what you get when you make something for the first time and you go at it with no plans and just whatever you have in the head. These are the buckles that'll keep the top closed, again salvaged from an old bag. Since the straps are made of braided nylon, I think, when cutting them, make sure you seal the edges with a flame to make sure they don't tear apart. Making the holes for the rivets, I'm just using a nail, making it hot with a lighter, and making the holes with it. And using the holes that I made in the straps as guides for the bag. Using a black wood on the back of the bag when I'm punching down the rivets to make sure they stay in place. Final test fit. Making sure everything fits together and it's big enough. This is when I realized I should have left the edges longer and folded them over the foam. So here I'm cutting up some leather to do that just now, but it would have came out looking much better if I did it in the first place. But you learn as you go, I guess. Using a piece of plastic to make sure the glue doesn't go everywhere and just sticking everything down and clamping as I go along. Not the neatest look in the end, but much better than with the foam exposed, and it gives them some much needed structural rigidity around the edges. And again, it's a learning experience. Everybody started somewhere and did some mistakes. And me coming at it without any prior knowledge of any of these things, I'm still happy the way it turned out. And it definitely does the job I wanted to do in the first place, which is carrying my bag around somewhat safely. Here's the final result and how my camera and all the accessories that I need fit inside. My microphone, some spare batteries and a charger, all kept somewhat apart with the separator inside. I don't do a lot of filming outside, but when I do, this actually comes in quite in handy. And here it is together with the shoulder strap. Not a bad look in my opinion. Could definitely be better, but that's what version 2 is for. And here's a final 360 look at it. Once again, thank you all for watching. Thank you for all the support. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy my tinkering with all the random stuff that I'm up to. And hopefully I will see you for the next project.